Hey, everybody. It is I, Gary Schumacher, and welcome to Saturday Night Live Stream with your host, moi. That's who. So we're going to have some talking and stuff going on here tonight. I got my kids in the chat room as moderators. I got Alabama Woodsman in the house. And I want to start out with Alabama Woodsman. Well, let me start out with this. Can you hear me? Am I too loud? Am I too soft? I don't know what I am. It's a bit distant. Give me a thumbs up out there, and give me a thumbs up on my video too, by the way. That if you can hear me okay. Can everyone hear me? That's not looking good, chat room. Can everyone hear me? Do I need to? Is everybody hearing me? Yes, thank you, Kyle. All right. And yes, Alabama Woodsman has the Magical Mystery Church on live stream tomorrow night, and then a video about why false prophets are successful. Oh, well, we got a double whammy tomorrow, don't we, Alabama Woodsman? You are been a very busy boy. You are the first thing on my agenda, and that is at 7 p.m. And I think is that Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure. Hey, CCC, how we doing today? And it's been a very busy week for me this week. I managed to pump out a heretic hump day, but with all this bad weather, I wound up at my job for a 19-hour day. and at my age, that ain't good, man. I was a mess. And 6 p.m. Central Time. Okay, thank you, Alabama. And I am looking really forward to that. I have never seen Laura from Magical Mystery Church without without her looking like a Walt Disney cartoon. So I am very, very excited about that. And I just want to put it out there that Alabama, you've been doing an outstanding job with these live streams. You're getting some great guests on there. And I look forward to it as much as I look forward to Drew Bloom on a Sunday night, even though Drew keeping me up late because you guys are Central Time and I'm Eastern Time. So, but I never miss it. Hi, Miss Noel. I am feeling better. Yes. Finally, I guess Crazy Kenny took the pins out of the voodoo doll of me, and I'm feeling much better now. So and so that's it is what it is. Jennifer, hi Jennifer, how you doing tonight? And God bless all of you for coming out to my live stream this Saturday night. I did a little bit later because I needed to catch up on some sleep. My wife came in last night and I fell asleep on the futon, and she says I just look so peaceful. She didn't have the heart to wake me. So I wound up sleeping on the futon last night. I'm fortunately I have a very comfortable futon. So and there is my son Kyle. So I say everybody wave to everyone, Kyle. Miss Noel P, my sister is helping my mom with directions about her ankle, but her ankle feels better. Oh, okay. Yes, Lexi had a little ankle problem there. All right, so I want to touch a little bit on Drew Bloom's Friday Fruit Clips. He was a little late with that as well. And he had someone on named Lila Java, and her husband is Hash and Java. Ugh, these names are rough, man. And the thing that disturbed me the most about his clip was that Hash and Java, he's become so wealthy off of this stuff that the clip he's playing, he's acting like he's pulling his pet, like a dog is giving. He's going, come on, come on. And then the easiest back, and it's his Lamborghini, and he just laughs, just thinks it's hysterical because this is what, heretics do. They cash in on the word of God, and how anyone can continue to give this man money, or his wife, who's also a prophet, who can't tell that when somebody's talking to her it's about somebody who'd already passed away. That was real disturbing. And the entire crowd just erupts into laughter. In cheers. If you haven't seen Drew's live stream, Drew's Friday Fruit Clips, go and watch it. It's a very good one this week, and it's there's a lot to unpack on that one. Let me just check the chat room here. Lost 2 FFCs have been amazing. That's I agree. Counterfeit Christianity says, well, that's won't impress Christ when he stands before him. And that's right. These people are more interested in you know, what they can get in this life. This life is very short. I mean, sometimes I feel like I went to bed last night and I was pedaling my tricycle up and down the front of my house. And now I'm 57 years old with two kids who can be disrespectful at times, but I love them both anyway. And but life is short and it seems to be speeding up every single day. And and we will all and be judged one day. Hey, Miss Noel, is this the last pic of Kenny belongs in a Stephen King movie? It's interesting that you bring up Ken. Ken, I got a I don't go to his channel anymore, but I did go to I got an email from someone who shall remain nameless, and they sent me a quote that they put on his channel here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Sorry. I should have had this ready to go. It's pretty funny actually. That's why I saved it here. Hold on a minute. Oh, here it is. So they went on that picture of him and his naked back. So she writes glad, it says glad to see a gay minister like yourself coming out of the closet by posting such a picture like this and coping coping copying only men on it. I am new to your channel, but I had no idea of your lifestyle. You should post this on a gay website. I'm sure you'll get the attention you're looking for. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good. He's getting quite the reaction to the naked back picture. So I find that very well. Like I said, I don't go to his channel, so somebody emailed me that. I was a photo shot. And he has since taken that down. I wonder why. You tell parents that he's sending that picture with local prison pen pal. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he'll get the attention he's looking for then, right, Alabama? Uh, yeah, I'm sure it's a current picture, right? It looks like somebody was chewing on his arm or something like that. I don't know what's going on in that picture, but yeah, he does love attention, but I am not giving him any more. Also, I just wanted to delve in a little bit more of Drew's Friday Fruit Clips because he also had on a Christy Jesse, who I'd never heard of before today. How they slipped through my radar, I have no idea, but there's just so many of them these days. And she's getting pretty cute. Before she even puts out the false prophecy she's going to put out, she releases the disclaimer, and she says, "This word may not be for you." I mean, you can't get better than that. This word may not be for you. Just in case, I get it wrong. This may not be for you. So, I mean, I just find that hilarious. And I'm sure it's for no one who unless you donate, just like Robin Bullock, and his daughter come out, don't you're gonna miss the wealth transfer. I gotta stop talking with my hands. You're gonna miss the wealth transfer unless you give us your money. You're not gonna get that wealth transfer without some money there. You don't want to miss out, so give me your money. I mean, how does that work? So I got to get poor for a promise of maybe getting rich later on down the road. So I don't understand why doesn't Robin Bullock wait for the wealth transfer himself? Why do we have to wait, but he has to get money from us to give to God? I don't know. I can never understand that one. Alabama Woodsman says, I did a video on her, but didn't post it. She is so vague it's comical. Yes. I also I've been getting a lot of these this I've been getting some messages from people saying Lois Vogel Sharp. That was last week. Somebody asked me, why don't I do a video on Lois Vogel Sharp? And I had the name had rung a bell, and I don't know if Drew, I think Drew did it, or maybe both of you guys did it, videos on her. But this guy was saying that she's from New Jersey. You should do a video on her. So I had it. Then I went on her. Oh, now I remember who she is. She is way out there with the prophecies, always sitting in the car. And I'm like, and I'm listening to her accent. I'm going, that don't sound like Jersey to me. The people, to the untrained ear, people don't know what a Jersey accent sounds like. She is definitely New York. So I looked her up, and she's from Long Island. So I was like, oh, I mean, I don't know. As far as I know, New Jersey doesn't crank out false prophets. So that's one thing New Jersey has going for it. Doesn't have a lot going for it, but it cranks out good singers and actors and actresses and stuff like that. But as far as false prophets, not I haven't found one yet. Alabama's got two he juggles around there. He calls them hometown heretics. And but New Jersey, all we have here is tolls and taxes. Unfortunately, I guess I'll take that over somebody wrecking the faith here in New Jersey. We have enough problems with that. So counterfeit Christianity, just wait. I'm sure they'll be out there. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, CC. Just keep yours in Canada. I don't want them coming down here with that. Oh no, man! I gotta lose some weight, man. My neck fat's flapping around just like his. I can't take it. I'm gonna do some chin ups here. All right, so yes, but like I said, that Christine Jesse with the disclaimer that just that just takes the cake though. And then he had another bit on a guy named Charlie Shamp. Okay, where Charlie Shamp, and I want to mention this. I kept watching Drew. I go, I gotta talk about this. I don't want to talk about all of Drew's video, but he had a guy named Charlie Shamp on there, and Charlie went to Bahrain. Okay, now I was stationed in Bahrain. My ship was home ported in Bahrain back in 1986 to 87. I was over there. And so he does this thing where he pulls out these supposedly precious stones, and all these people are standing around him. And what they don't realize is that Bahrain is a very, very wealthy country, and that's why we're home ported there. Because we have a good relationship with the United States, at least back then. And those there's not a lot of stones there, so maybe that's why they were measured right. But man, did that country have gold. What we were doing while we were over there was that their 18 karat gold is more valuable than ours. You couldn't get it here. So what a lot of guys were doing, they have a thing called the gold souk down there. And you go down there, and it's like a mall with a giant vault doors on the front of it, and they would shut it at night because you go and you walk in here, it's wall-to-wall jewelry stores as far as the eye can see. And so what would happen was you could buy the jewelry for probably half the price and better quality gold than you could find in the United States. So sailors and myself, I bought a couple chains. But once you get into the United States, if you're not military like us, you can't get that through customs. Then they whack you at customs, and then it kind of all evens out. But me being in the military, they told us as long as you're wearing it, they can't do anything at customs about it. So these guys were coming home looking like Mr. T with all this gold around their neck. It was really comical. I mean, I bought a couple chains and mailed it home. What am I going to go through that for? And just to test out the waters to see it. And my dad went and sold the chains for me, and I got almost twice of what I paid for them, and so yeah, it's a very wealthy country. I can't imagine that he could impress them with these fake I mean, they looked fake in his hand. I don't know what the trick was there. When I was over there, um, the there's a picture of me on my webpage in my Navy uniform, standing there with a bartender and Filipino lady, very nice. And she took me to church over there. Of course, you know, cuckoo man had to attack me for it. It's amazing how he just makes up his own stories from a picture. And but there wasn't very many if at all Christian churches over in Bahrain. I got a message from someone says that she lived there for 3 years. I don't know when that happened. It's been a long time since I've been over there, but there's more Christian churches in Bahrain. There's actually a lot now. And that's a good thing to hear that some of the Middle East is opening up to Christianity, because Bahrain was a very liberal, you know, type of environment. And they treated us very good and things like that. So, oh, I got Cindy Duke in the house. I got Terry in the house. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little carried away with my notes here. The Lord definitely guides me on. Oh my, that's the lie for getting through customs. Oh, really? I came home with a 24 karat gold nugget, and it wasn't a speck. Yeah, over there were some guys coming home with and the other thing about Bahrain too is that you could get, the pure essence of what they make into very, very expensive perfume, and, I was buying that too. Is it? Oh, I'm gonna keep you straight with Bahrain. It was Cindy Duke that messaged me about Bahrain. Hi, Cindy. Thank you for coming by there. Yes, you are gonna keep me straight about Bahrain. Cindy, when were you in Bahrain? What years was that? Because I was, like I said, I was over there in the 80s. So it seems to me from what you tell me, a lot has changed over there. So but yeah, you keep me up on my Bahrain. No, now you got me off track. uh let's see. Yes, and like I said, I was stationed over there on the USS LaSalle, which now the USS LaSalle sits at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico because they took it out and used it as a target. So if you ever want to go see my ship being sunk on the internet, just look up the USS LaSalle and you'll see my ship being sunk by one of our ships, but there's nobody on it. It's just empty. But it's still kind of sad to watch my ship sunk because that was my home. So you were there from 74 to 77. I was just a little baby kid, so you were over there long before me. You were there a long time. I was so homesick. I wanted to go home so bad after a year being over in the Middle East. Of course, I didn't stay in Bahrain. I've been all over the Persian Gulf. I've been to Pakistan and I've been to m- let's see, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank after all these years. Saudi Arabia, that was really no fun. Um, and Oman, Daman. I got a jacket with all of it listed on the back of it. So and Khan will blame you for it sinking. Yeah, he probably will. It's all my fault, right? uh 2 years after they were given back to sovereign. Oh, really? Yeah. That's when everybody because they were Bahrain was oh, kind of like owned by England, I believe, and that's why I think we were still able to you know bring our ships in there. I had spent some time with the British Navy while I was there too. Very interesting. Those guys with their wit, and they brought me on board their ship, which is the HMS Nottingham. I'll never forget the name of that ship. And those guys were allowed to drink alcohol in their ships, where American sailors are not. And but they have a tradition: if you get drunk on their ship, they shave your head. So, and a few of our sailors came back from the HMS Nottingham with bald, shaved heads because you do not get drunk and pass out in front of the Royal Navy. I was a good boy. I got to keep heck with my hair. So, okay, so 2 years after they were given back to sovereignty. Okay, I read that already. So, All right. So I also do want to touch on my video that I put out about Amanda Grace and Mike Lindell. I hope you all enjoyed that and got I got some good feedback on there. A lot of people didn't realize Mike Lindell was running around with Amanda Grace and that whole ilk. And Amanda Grace can sell a My Pillow like nobody's business, can't she? Except it was just so hard to make that video. It took me forever because Mike Lindell has to talk like this all the time. And it was just like, "Urgh," and I would have to go in there and edit it and lower the volume. And then she would talk and she talks lower. So I have to lift her up and cut and raise. And you can see I wanted to do more of her and Mike Lindell, but I just couldn't take it anymore. Move on to something else because Mike Lindell will not keep a pitch to his voice to save his life. Oh, Cindy, you are chatty tonight, aren't you? I should visit Russia. I got a story about Russia. Okay, so I'm over in the Middle East, and my older brother's in the Navy at the same time. Except my brother Donnie is, 14 years older than me. He's a chief petty officer at the time. I'm just a lowly seaman, and he had a top secret clearance. But while my sister's home, she's a nurse. She takes a trip over to Russia to instruct Russian nurses on American procedures. And my brother gets called up to the captain and it says, they ask him, "Do you have a sister named Eileen Schumacher?" And he says, "Yes." He goes, "Do you know that your sister is currently visiting the United Soviet Socialist Republic?" And he goes, Nah, not my sister. They thought my sister was a communist." They pulled my brother's top secret clearance because of that. And I had no top secret clearance, but I was questioned about her. And I called my mother, and my mother goes, "Oh, yeah, no big deal." I go, "What's a big deal to me?" And Donnie too. So yeah, this is my brother losing his top secret clearance because my sister went to Russia. Thanks. Thanks, sis. But I think he eventually got it back. They just had to investigate it or something like that. But hey, George, how you doing? I have been checking everybody. George Gaston. I hope I'm saying that wrong. Right? He has a YouTube channel. Please check it out. He has some great content there, and I wholeheartedly support George's channel. You are the George Gaston with the YouTube channel, right? So, oh goodness. So let me try to catch up here with the chat room. I kind of get lost. Okay. All right. So let me go back to my notes here. Amanda Grace and Mike Lindell. So yes. But yeah, how did you guys like that? I mean, he's in the middle of crying the blues. They're taking my money away and all this stuff. But here's some towels for you. They just came in. They're different colors. If you haven't seen my video on this yet, please go check it out. If I do say so myself, it was pretty comical. And I used to have respect for that guy. He would do these commercials, say he's supporting putting Americans to work, and then right in the video he says that he's having the sheets made overseas. And you're slapping the American flag on there, but you're paying for slave labor over in whatever godforsaken country these poor people have to make these sheets. And in the meantime, there's Americans here in this country out of work. And so I just can't have sympathy for someone like that. And he's also crying the blues that he's firing his lawyers that he was paying $3 million a month to. Can you imagine having a lawyer bill of $3 million a month that you can afford to pay a lawyer's bill of $3 million a month? And then finally, when the creditors start calling in your loans, yeah, we got to stop paying we got to stop paying the lawyers $3 million a month. That boggles my mind. That's how we do business in this country. So, uh, okay, okay. So I got to flip my page here. I got off page one. So, all right. Yes, I have an agenda tonight. I do. All right. So, I did cover Lois Vogel Sharp. She was on page two, but sometimes they get bumped to page one. Now, Lois Vogel Sharp, if you're not familiar with her, she is got to be up there with Ms. Green there for the most phony false prophets that have not come to pass. and she has no shame about it either, and she gets angry when people don't believe her. She sits in her car and rants and raves, and she is something else. I believe Drew's done some videos on him. You need to check her out because and she's still here. She has no shame in her game. She will just keep right on going as long as you send her money. And she is amazing. She has a huge following. I thought I wrote that down, how many people are following her, but I guess I did not. But it just it's baffling. It's completely baffling that she can go on YouTube and spew all this nonsense, and still people, when you show them, still people will follow them, and, it's just it's a catastrophe. And here's catastrophic Cannon, speaking of catastrophes. How you doing, Cannon? How you doing tonight? God bless. And, so, and that's why I brought up during my last video, I brought up Nostradamus and Edgar Casey, because this type of thing has been going on a long time, and, when I was a little kid, I mean, they put that stuff on the History Channel, the Discovery Channel, like it's the truth, and you start to realize that even what you would think were respectable television channels, when we were all younger, you'd watch these things, and they were just interested in ratings. The ratings were all, didn't matter if this was right or wrong. I remember watching an entire my parents actually took me to see it in the movies. It was in the movie theaters. It was called The Hunt for Noah's Ark. And they had a bunch of stuff on there. It was they look back now, it's completely based. They had pictures of Noah's Ark sticking out of the side of Mount Ararat, and it was complete nonsense. Now they think they found it, something that looks like a boat, uh, um, nearby where that should have went down. And I believe Noah's Ark was true, but I don't like people who's going to cash in on something phony about Noah's Ark, you know. And this is just, it goes on. Not only are there false prophecy, but there's people trying to prove that they have these relics, and they're going to prove it. There's a guy out there that says he found the Ark of the Covenant, but I don't see any pictures of the Ark of the Covenant. Do you? I do not. They don't have to show proof. They just have to say, God, God told me I couldn't take out my cell phone, couldn't take a picture of that Ark of the Covenant. Sharp had let me check the chat room real quick. Sharp had her people pay for the apologies compound. If I'm not mistaken, Drew had a great video. Yeah, Drew. Oh, yes, Drew did have the video on her. Okay. Chat was a little fast. Yes, Ron Wyatt. Right. You're right, Terry. Ron Wyatt. Thank you very much. I could not think of his real name right at the top of his head. And Ron Wyatt is something else. He's supposedly found the Ark of the Covenant, and by the time he got to it, these angels had stopped him. They allowed him to take the Ark of the Covenant out, and then the Ten Commandments, and they set them up there. But the angels that are guarding it would not allow him to take any photographs or anything like that. And which is a little disheartening and a little unbelievable, because if you read stories in the Bible, if you just bumped the Ark of the Covenant, you could die. That's how powerful this thing was. You didn't disrespect the Ark of the Covenant. And but for some reason, Ron Wyatt was all over that. But can't get any proof. Say it ain't so, George. His compound is a barn and a cross. Whose compound is that? You don't think Ron Wyatt found it? I mean, when I first started, looking into Ron Wyatt, he had said that above where he found it is where they think Jesus was crucified, and that Jesus was stuck with the spear, and the blood and the water came out. It dripped down the cross and into the ground, and underneath that, it went into the ground and went on the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant. So that was Jesus' blood sacrifice on the Ark of the Covenant, and which makes sense if you think about it, you know. Um, but I think just the act of Jesus dying on the cross was sufficient enough. I don't think it needed to be on the mercy seat, or it did. I'm not God. I don't know. But it's the moment Jesus died is when uh, we were all saved, and that did make a lot of sense. And he was very, very good at. He supposedly scraped some of the blood, had it analyzed. It was missing chromosomes of the father, and he brought it to a laboratory, and it was this whole thing going on. I really should do a video on that because right now I'm just paraphrasing things. But I I don't. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I feel the same way, and I also mentioned that about the Shroud of Turin in my last video. I showed a video of that. And they they did some testing on that back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I was a little kid when they did that. I remember that. And I remember going to church after that. It came out, they said it was dated from the medieval times and that was a forgery. But to this day, they can't come up with a way that that image got on there. And they're also saying the pieces that they cut off from the Shroud of Turin may have been in an area where it was repaired during the Middle Ages, and that's what threw it off. And it was also in a fire. There's scorch marks on it. There's lots of things involved here. And but like I said in my video, and I'll say it again, I don't need a piece of cloth to tell me that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. That face on there, it speaks to me. I don't know what it is. Every time I see the Shroud of Turin, there's something about the face on that cloth that speaks to me, and it's just an amazing artifact. But be as it may, um, I don't need that. He's right here. I don't need uh, a a negative on a piece of cloth to tell me that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And like I said, even if they could date it to the time of Christ, people still wouldn't believe it, you know. And yeah, carbon dating is a scam. I agree, Alabama, because they've been carbon dating dinosaurs to say they lived 65 million years ago. And they are starting to find soft tissue in these so called fossils. And if they were around 65 million years ago, they wouldn't be finding soft tissue. This soft tissue is found by accident by a scientist, and they don't the entire paleontology community just ignores her. Which is, we can't have that. Hey, Ferd, how are you? How are you today? I believe it happened, but I don't believe Ron claims that they will mandate they will mandate worldwide Sunday Sabbath as part of the anti-Christian system. Well, there you go. I mean, there's something there that the Jews actually have right. I mean, they're wrong about Christ, obviously, but I mean, they the Sabbath is supposed to be Saturday. It was the Catholic Church that changed it to Sunday, uh, long before my time. Ooh, got a little headache here. And, but the Sabbath, and I know quite a few Christians still, you know, worship on the Sabbath. So they destroyed her over that find. Yeah. Oh, are you talking about that scientist about the dinosaur soft tissues? Did they, because I mean that poor woman, she was you can actually see it that she was worried about her career. And she did this test over and over and over and over again, and she kept finding the same results. And so yeah, you know, because and there's a reason for that. There's a reason why scientists don't want to. This should be the greatest thing. Wow, we were all wrong, because that would prove that the earth is not as old as they say it is. And who's been saying that for years? Christians have. That's who, and they cannot agree with Christians. We can't get those bunch of atheists would rather lie through their teeth than to agree with Christians, and that is the fact, you know. If I'm wrong, leave a comment below because I do not feel that I'm wrong about that. Um, it's like Republicans and Democrats, they can't agree on nothing, you know. If the Republicans say something's blue, the Democrats will say it's green just because they don't want to agree with nothing. But on the other hand, we have the Bible, okay? And to them is just a book of stories, but for those of us that have faith, we know better, and they can't stand that. And I've changed up I'm actually using a green screen now, and I'm finding out that my hat where it says Warrior Not Waco is green too. Look at that. And it is messing up my lettering there. Uh, I got my water here from Fiji, not bottled in Hoboken, New Jersey at all. No, Fiji. This came right from Fiji, guys. Okay. If I remember correctly, the Jewish guy they hired to debunk the shroud, top of his field, said some power that cannot be redone with today's tech left that image. He became a Christian. Really? I didn't know he became a Christian. I know what you're talking about. And yes, they cannot recreate that image on that shroud. They can't. They would say it was done by radiation, but they would need so much radiation it would be ridiculous. So Alabama Woodsman says, I heard the power used to leave the image was that equal to a nuclear explosion without the damage. Yeah. Yeah. So explain to me how you did that, Sherlock. I mean, they're also quick to say, well, it's not it couldn't be Jesus's cross. It's not old enough, but they don't know how it got there, you know. And hold on a second. I gotta fix. There we go. I'm getting blurry. So yeah, nobody's got an explanation for how it got there. All these mighty scientists, but they feel that they've explained themselves as far as dating. And so that's it. We don't want to talk about it. Pack it away. You Christians are wrong. You know, Jesus break his own command. I don't know what you're talking about. Thou shalt not make any graven images. Well, that's not a graven image. It's just a stain, actually. So I don't know. I was wondering where you're going with that catastrophic. I don't think Jesus breaks commandments. God would not leave an image behind for people to idol or worship. Well, CCC, I agree. I agree. It does say in the Bible that you're not supposed to make any. We're not supposed to make any engraven images. But if Jesus made one, then that's a whole different story now, isn't it? Like I said, I don't know if that's the image of Jesus on the shrouded term. I don't need it to be um, his image on the shroud. I'd like it to be. I'm sure there's not a Christian on the planet would not like to think that that's you're looking into at the face of Jesus Christ, but I don't need it. Okay. There are there are people that need relics, to try to help them along. I'm not one of them. You know, I need prayer. I need him in my life every single day, and we all should. We all should do that. Look, look at all the animals in the temple. Oh, thank you, catastrophic. I appreciate that. Alabama says Gary is right. This is outlaw to us. Oh, I got to call my wife in here. So look, somebody said Gary's right. I don't get that very often. The graven image in the temple, right? Exactly. So like I said, but you know, to boil down to it, it's Jesus lives here, not on a piece of cloth, So that's that's all I want to say about that. Um, So, um, I just want to read some scripture here because, like I said, I did do the video on Nostradamus and Edgar Casey, and like I said, this has been going back a very, very long time. This type of thing, and Nostradamus doesn't even mention God. He was more of a fortune teller, you know, extremely popular fortune teller, and how his prophecies being as you know weird as they were, stood the test of time. I guess they were just easy to flim flam around and, but him and Edgar Casey, they're two peas in a pod, several hundred years apart. But so I want to read from Matthew 24, verses 4 and 5. And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Okay. And then that's exactly what these people have done. And Nostradamus and Edgar Casey, well, Edgar Casey was a Christian man, but Nostradamus, he's more or less messing with witchcraft there. And he was a soothsayer or a seer or whatever. He never really mentions, he never wanted, and the Lord told me this day, like Amanda Grace loves to say all the time. He never did that. So what he was, and he even told his son when he was dying, don't ever play with this. This is not for you. you know? And so, yeah, I don't know what deals he made, but most of his prophecies were pretty much wrong anyway. Let me just check the chat room here. Catastrophic Cannon says, "We are God's temple." Or have you read? Yes, we are. Alabama Khan knows the truth. I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure he does. But he's going to pay for that one day. Hey, Terry. Uh, yes, for they did research on the scorch wounds. I guess you could call it wounds, and they matched the Romans. Oh, the scourge. I'm sorry, misread that. Romans would have made. Yes, yes, they did. I mean, whoever, if this was a forgery, they did their homework, man. Because I mean, when I was a little kid, they always show, and to this day, they always show. If you go to a Catholic church and they show a crucifixion, crucifix, sorry, they always show that goes through the hands when they crucified Christ. And that was the strangest thing about the Shroud of Turin is that there's blood marks on the wrist. And then they did some research on it, and they said that that is actually how they had it, because or they would have just torn the bones, and he would have they would have fallen off the crosses. So they had to do it that way because it was much sturdier, the wrist bones than the hand bones would have been. So yeah, all of that, um, you know, they, like I said, they did their homework. These people knew anatomy and all that stuff that that we didn't know in the 20th century. From us old folks that remember the 20th century. I have two kids that are born in the 21st century, so and that's why I also, these people that believe in these prophets today, they take the scripture and they bend it and twist it to meet their agenda. Blue Tap's a perfect example of that. And but what we should all be waiting for are the two witnesses, whoever they may be, because those are the ones that they're going to come here and they are going to start prophesying. And us as Christians